Wishlist leaderboards, dude.
Welcome guys to the second devlog of Pin Them. In this video I will give you insight into our project management and the development process. I will point out 3 guidelines we apply while working on Pin Them, and we hope they will help you to be more efficient as an indie developer. But first, let me give you some context. Pin Them is an action tower defense game. Your job is to stop the assault of otherworldly creatures by pinning them with your bow. In Pin Them you can't kill enemies. Instead, you have to pin them to wooden surfaces like barrels, planks, walls or floors. We have been developing Pin Them full-time for 2 months now, and we're quite happy with the project management approach we took. It is based on 8 years of software development experience. So we are excited to share our techniques with you. Let's jump right into it. Guideline number 1. Iterate fast. Fast iterations are key in the development process of Pin Them. But what is an iteration? An iteration is the time frame in which you create the next playable version of your game. So let me tell you what exactly we're doing. We split our week in 2 iterations. One from Monday to Wednesday afternoon, and one from Wednesday afternoon to Friday. So twice a week we have a playable version of our game. Have you ever been in the situation where you talk to your friend about your game and at some point he asks you, "Can I play it?" And you're working on a certain feature for 1.5 weeks and it's not ready yet? Let's just say, don't do this. With 2 iterations a week, the version of a game a playtester plays is at maximum 2 days old. So you're always able to get feedback for the most recent stuff. Of course, this implies that you have to cut your features in fitting sizes. But there are more things that are great about fast iterations, so let's head over to the second guideline. Guideline number 2. Each iteration should make your game better. If it's less fun to play, throw the change away.
Cringe.
This one sounds obvious, but we made this mistake quite often in the last few years. You know the situation when someone tests your new feature and he's like, "Okay." And you are like, "Oh, this makes sense as soon as we implemented more enemy types and leveling, as well as a skill system with abilities and traps. Oh, and it's missing some epic animations and cool particle effects, and you have to imagine some satisfying sounds and... You don't want to find yourself in this position. A few weeks ago, a friend played Pin Them, and back then it was possible to defeat enemies through headshots. He was quite good at it and completely dodged the pin mechanic. In the end, he asked us, "Why is the game called Pin Them?" That was obviously a problem. So we thought about solutions. In the end, we removed the headshot mechanic and came up with a complex armor and pin resistance system that we had to design in Excel because it was too hard to understand. We even created a tutorial for it to see if a playtester would understand it. But as it turned out, he didn't. And it was even worse. In the first playtest he had a lot of fun playing Pin Them, and in the one with the complicated armor system he was like, meh. So by trying to make the game better, we actually made it worse. We took the system and removed it from the game. Immediately, it became fun to play again. So what's the key insight? Don't hesitate to throw away features and don't try to find excuses if a new change makes your game less fun to play. Just fail as fast as possible and keep the flow going. But when do you know if a change makes things better? This is something in our development process that made it a lot easier to judge and also to prioritize features and fixes. And that brings us to guideline number 3. Guideline number 3. Do 1 playtest per iteration. As a developer of your own game, you encounter a couple of problems. After a few weeks of development, you have played your game for many hours. That makes it pretty hard for you to understand how your game feels for a beginner. Also, you know every system of your game that might not be obvious to new players. And the hardest problem, you play your game in your personal style. That means that you're likely to miss bugs or flaws that another player would find. To prevent these problems, you need playtesters. And you need them as often as possible to find out if a change is actually good or if it should be removed. So sync your playtests with your iterations. That is easy as you have a playable version at the end of each iteration. And as you're passionate about games, we bet most of your friends are as well. So ask them. They will most likely enjoy the playtesting time. So in conclusion, these are the 3 guidelines that help us with our project management. Tell us what other techniques you have found helpful in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos about game development. Also, it would be great if you head over to the Steam page of Pindom and click the wishlist button. You can find the link in the description below. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time.